My sister moved my chair away from the family table 10 minutes before her CEO arrived. She smiled while doing it, like she was saving me from embarrassing myself. The executives need these seats, Maya. You'll be more comfortable at the back anyway. Then she leaned closer. Besides, you're basically admin. You won't have anything to talk about with them. My mother heard her. So did my father. Neither of them corrected her. Mom actually laughed and said, "Tonight is Lauren's night. Don't make this awkward." So I picked up my glass, walked to a smaller table near the wall, and sat down alone. 20 minutes later, Lauren's CEO entered the restaurant. He congratulated my sister, shook my parents' hands, and started toward the main table. Then he saw me. He stopped in the middle of the room, changed direction, walked straight past Lauren and said, "Maya Bennett, why are you sitting back here?" I'm 28, Lauren is 25. For most of our lives, Lauren has been the daughter my parents knew how to celebrate. She talked about every achievement before anyone had to ask. A new job meant champagne. A raise meant dinner. A certificate meant a framed photograph in my parents' hallway. I was quieter about my work. I worked for an operations firm that helped companies open and relocate offices, coordinate contractors, and solve the problems that had to be fixed before employees could move in. My official title was Senior Project Coordinator. Whenever my parents asked what I did, I usually said, "I help companies get new offices running." Lauren turned that into something else. At Christmas, she once told one of our aunts, "Maya does front desk and building admin stuff." Everyone laughed. I didn't correct her. I didn't think I needed to. I didn't need my family to be impressed by my job. I just assumed people who loved me wouldn't need an impressive title before treating me with respect. 6 months before Lauren's promotion dinner, her software company moved into a new regional headquarters. My firm had managed much of the transition. I was one of 3 people leading the project. After the move, our firm stayed on under a 1-year transition contract, which meant major vendor access, temporary installations, and larger on-site events still came through our operations team. Lauren apparently had no idea. Her promotion dinner was held at an upscale hotel restaurant. She had recently become an account manager, and I was genuinely proud of her. My parents booked a private section. Lauren invited her department head, 2 directors, and several coworkers. Less than an hour before dinner, she announced that her CEO, Daniel Mercer, might stop by. Suddenly, she started rearranging the seating chart. Dad was moved closer to her. Mom was moved beside him. A chair was saved for Daniel. Then Lauren looked at me. "Maya, could you move to that table?" She pointed toward a small 2-person table near the wall. I stared at her. "Why?" "The executives need room." I looked at the main table. There are still empty chairs. Lauren smiled tightly. "I just don't want you getting stuck in one of those business conversations and feeling uncomfortable." I almost laughed. Why would I be uncomfortable? She lowered her voice, although not enough. "Because you're basically admin, Maya." Her department head heard it. So did my parents. Mom gave a little laugh. "Just let Lauren have her evening." That sentence bothered me more than Lauren's insult. Somehow, me sitting beside my own family had become a threat to Lauren's evening. So I moved. Nobody stopped me. Daniel arrived about 20 minutes later. I recognized him immediately. During the headquarters move, we had spoken several times. 6 days before the scheduled opening, a contractor issue created a compliance problem that threatened access to 2 floors. If we couldn't fix it, hundreds of employees would arrive Monday morning with parts of the building unusable. For 4 days, my phone barely left my hand. I coordinated revised contractor schedules, building management, inspections, temporary workspaces, access permissions, and a backup setup. Daniel had been on several of those calls. When we finally received clearance, he had emailed me personally. "You just saved us from a very expensive Monday." Daniel reached the main table, congratulated Lauren, spoke briefly to my parents, then noticed me sitting by myself. His expression changed. Maya Bennett. Every head turned. I stood. Daniel walked over and shook my hand. What are you doing sitting all the way back here? Before I could answer, Lauren jumped in. Oh, Maya's my sister. Daniel looked from her to me. Your sister? Lauren smiled. Yes, she works in facilities, basically. I saw Daniel's eyebrows lift. Facilities? Lauren gave a small shrug. She helped with the building. Daniel looked at her for a moment, then turned back toward me. Maya didn't just help with the building. The table went quiet. He told them about the opening problem, the compliance issue, and the 4 days of calls. Then he said, if Maya and her team hadn't fixed that mess, we would have postponed the opening. Lauren stopped smiling. My father stared at me. Mom said, you did all that. I nodded. Daniel laughed. She's being modest. When something went wrong during that launch, Maya was one of the people we called. Lauren's department head looked at me. We heard about that week. Daniel pulled out an empty chair near the main table. Come sit with us. For a few seconds, I hesitated. Then I sat down. Dinner continued, but the atmosphere had changed. Daniel asked about another project my team was handling. One of the directors asked how I got into operations. Lauren barely spoke. When Daniel eventually left, Dad leaned toward me. Why didn't you tell us you were doing work like that? Before I could answer, Lauren said, can everyone stop acting like she built the headquarters herself? Nobody said anything. She gave a short laugh. I mean, come on, she's still an outside contractor. I looked at her. You moved me away from the family table because you thought I would embarrass you. That's not what happened. It's exactly what happened. Mom stepped in immediately. Maya, please, tonight is supposed to be about Lauren. Again. I put my napkin on the table. Then enjoy Lauren's night. And I left. Lauren didn't call to apologize. The next morning, she texted me. You made everything weird last night. I read it once and deleted it. A week later, she called. I almost didn't answer. Maya, I need something. No hello. No apology. Just need. Her team had a major client presentation scheduled at the new headquarters. They planned to bring in outside catering, temporary displays, equipment, and more than 60 visitors. Because our firm was still managing the transition period, that kind of event required vendor and safety approval through our team. Lauren's team had missed the submission deadline. Her event was 3 days away. She said, I sent everything this morning, but operations says it might not clear in time. I already knew. The request had reached our system earlier that day. It was incomplete. The file was missing insurance documents and a required safety approval. I said, then send the missing documents. They're coming. Once they arrive, the request can be reviewed. Lauren went quiet. Then she lowered her voice. Can't you just push it through? No. You know the building, you know these people. That doesn't replace the paperwork. Maya, it's one event. It's 60 visitors, outside vendors, temporary equipment, and a safety approval. She sighed. You're seriously doing this because of dinner? No, dinner is why you think I should risk my job for you. Silence. Then she said, you're my sister, for once just help me. A week earlier, I hadn't been important enough to sit beside her. Now I was important enough to break procedure. I am helping you, I said. I'm telling you exactly what you need to submit. She hung up. The remaining documents didn't arrive until late the next afternoon. By then, there wasn't enough time to guarantee approval before the event. Lauren's team moved the presentation to a smaller conference center nearby. That should have been the end of it. but Lauren told her manager that building operations had caused the delay. Unfortunately for her, the system showed everything. Her team had received 2 deadline reminders. Lauren herself had acknowledged both of them. She had still submitted an incomplete request only 3 days before the event, and then asked for an exception. Her manager contacted the operations team. The records were forwarded. Daniel Mercer was copied. 2 days later, Mom called me. "What happened with your sister's event?" "Her paperwork was late. She says you could have helped." I told her what documents she needed. "That's not what I mean." "Of course it was. Mom wanted me to bend the rules." "What exactly did you want me to do?" I asked. "She's your sister." "So, Maya, number should I have approved incomplete safety paperwork because we have the same parents?" Mom went quiet. Then she said, "Lauren says this made her look bad at work." I replied, "Lauren made Lauren look bad at work." After management reviewed what happened, Lauren lost responsibility for coordinating the next major client event. She wasn't fired. She didn't lose her promotion. Her manager simply told her she had to prove she could manage deadlines and procedures before being trusted with another large event. That consequence was enough. 2 weeks later, my parents invited both of us to dinner. I almost refused, but eventually I went. Lauren was already there. For the first 20 minutes, nobody mentioned what had happened. Then Mom said, "I just wish all of this hadn't gotten so ugly." I looked at her. "All of what?" "You and Lauren." Lauren folded her arms. "I already said I didn't know what Maya actually did." That was the closest she had come to an apology. I said, "That wasn't the problem." She frowned. "What was?" "You didn't know what I did, so you decided it must not matter." Nobody spoke. "You moved me away from my own family because you thought your coworkers would find me unimpressive, and Mom and Dad watched you do it." Dad looked down. "We should have stopped her." "Yes," I said, "you should have." Mom looked at me. "But why didn't you ever tell us what you really did?" I thought about every joke I had ignored, and every time they had accepted Lauren's version of me without asking a single question. Then I said, "Because you never asked, you already decided." Nobody had an answer to that. And for once, I didn't feel responsible for making the silence comfortable. I didn't cut my family off. I didn't destroy Lauren's career. There was no dramatic revenge. I simply stopped shrinking so other people could feel taller. The next time someone at a family dinner asked what I did for work, I told them exactly what I did. Lauren never made another receptionist joke. If your own sister humiliated you in front of her coworkers because she thought your career wasn't impressive enough, then came asking you to risk that same career to save her, would you help her anyway? Or would you let her face the consequences of her own choices?